Good afternoon. My name is Angie Mock. I'm the publisher and CEO of the San Antonio Report. And we are so glad that you guys are here for tonight's debates, District 8 and District 9. The San Antonio Report is a nonprofit, independent, local news source, all digital. We publish daily, and civic engagement is core to our mission. And so we've been burning the midnight oil a lot lately, covering the races, the city elections, but like I said, it's core to our mission. We don't these events like this and like the mayoral debate we did on the first, um, don't produce revenue for us, but um, they're a lot of hard work, but they're worth it because this is kind of a confusing race this year. We have a lot of candidates, and as a public service news organization, we take this role very clearly, very importantly, that it's our role to inform and engage the citizens of San Antonio. Um, for the first time ever, these new council people will be serving for 4 years. And so it's important that voters are very informed. And so we're delighted to be able to bring you this forum. We are going to have it up on video pretty soon, probably by tomorrow. So once we do that, encourage your friends and neighbors to watch it. Subscribe to our newsletters, especially Andrea's Government and Politics Weekly Bexar County Ballot. And if you're not already a member, consider helping us with a small donation to allow us to continue to engage civically with all of you. And with that, I'll turn it over to our moderator and our editor-in-chief, Leigh Munsil.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you to our candidates for being here. We're able to fix the pop in the mic, I think. We'll get working on that. As Angie said, my name is Leigh Munsil. I'm the editor-in-chief of the San Antonio Report, and I'm so honored to be here to host this District 8 debate. We're also going to have a District 9 debate immediately following, so we'll do a quick break between the two. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for braving traffic. I know it was a little hard to get here today, so you all get gold stars for civic engagement today. So let's get started. Again, San Antonio City Council District 8 encompasses the city's far northwest side, north of Loop 1604. Longtime Councilman Manny Pelaez, District 8, is leaving the seat to run for mayor, and the 6 candidates on this stage are vying to replace him. Remember that one of these candidates is certain to be the next council person, but if no one takes at least 50% of the vote on May 3rd, the top 2 finishers will go to a June 7th runoff. So your job is not done after May 3rd. You have to vote again in June, so be prepared to cast your vote. So how this event goes tonight, when I ask you a question, candidates, you'll have 1 minute to respond. We have a clock in the corner, so you'll be able to see your time winding down. If I ask a follow-up question, you'll get 1 minute to respond, or if a rebuttal is needed, you'll get 30 seconds, and that will be awarded at my discretion. One quick note for the crowd, you all seem very well behaved, so I'm not worried about it, but this debate is exactly 1 hour. Disruptions from the audience will take away from the candidates' time to make their cases to voters, so please keep your applause short and respectful. So to get started, I'll introduce the candidates, and we'll give them a chance with the first question to tell you a little bit more about themselves and their backgrounds. Sakib Shaikh is a realtor, landlord, and small business owner who briefly worked in the District 8 Council office in 2017. When you introduce yourselves as well, tell me if I mispronounced anything. Cesario Garcia, next to him, is a conservative activist and former TV journalist who has run in District 8 before. Cindy Onyekwelu is a software engineering contractor for the U.S. Air Force within Port San Antonio. Rodney Kidd is an entrepreneur with a background in technology and logistics. And Ivalis Meza Gonzalez served as Mayor Ron Nirenberg's chief of staff and ran as a Democrat for Bexar County judge in 2022. Paula McGee, next to her, is an attorney who has served on the San Antonio Zoning Commission, the Ethics Review Board, and the board of the Alamo Colleges Foundation. Let's get started with our first question. We'll start this way and go over. We'll kind of go back and forth tonight. So question one, in a couple of months, one of you will be sitting on the city council dais multiple times a week, deciding issues not just for District 8, but for the whole community. So please tell us in 1 minute about your background and experience and why you think it qualifies you for this important job. Start us off.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Leigh. Yes, I am very excited about the opportunity to serve as councilwoman for District 8, and I believe that my life experience gives me a lot of capability to represent the citizens and businesses in District 8. I have practiced law for 41 years. I'm a lawyer, and I have been on the, as you said, on the Zoning Commission for several years and the Ethics Review Board. I think both of those boards and commissions have given me experience and a perspective to be able to make decisions, understand how the city works, but also have experience in making decisions that affect the entire city. I think both of those. So I think that those experiences for me are very invaluable, and I will draw from those in my representation of state.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you all so much. Thank you to the San Antonio Report. My name is Ivalis, Meza, Gonzalez. Born and raised here in San Antonio, and my husband and I have been raising our family in District 8 for the last 15 years. Graduated from UTSA with an undergraduate degree and St. Mary's Law School. I've spent the last 15 years mostly in local government, some business. Started at the San Antonio River Authority during our famous river expansion projects of our Mission Reach and Museum Reach. Most recently, I served as Chief of Staff to our mayor. During that time, I helped manage our response to the pandemic, our response to the pandemic, our winter storm response. Also managed our 2022 bond oversight committee, our redistricting committee, a charter amendment that allowed for an affordable housing bond. So I understand local government. I love the work that we're able to do at the local level for residents, and I'm ready to hit the ground running on day one for the residents of District 8.
Hello, thanks Leigh, thanks for San Antonio Report, and thanks for everybody for coming out tonight. It's very important that you participate because we are here to represent you. We're here to be the voice for you. A little bit about myself. My name is Rodney Kidd. I have Blue Star Marketing Company. It's an agency that helps elected officials get into office. I also help with Connected Co-working, the old Hallmark University building, and we help community, startups, nonprofits, everybody to get their business going. A little bit about myself. Once I finished college, I headed to Clear Lake, Texas. I worked for GTE Wireless. I handled a lot of major accounts, NASA, Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, and that was the start of my entrepreneurial world. I went out, started my own business in Austin, started acquiring businesses, and that's what led me to understand to give people what they need and what they want. So my main reason for running is to represent you and make sure you get the services required from you by the council.
Hello.
They
Awesome.
should all be on. I
Okay.
believe.
Hello, my name is Cindy Onyekwelu, but you can call me Cindy Lou. That's my nickname, but Cindy O for my government name. So I came here in 2019 from Austin, Texas. I grew up, born and raised in A-Leaf, Houston, Texas, next to Sugarland. I have been working I had to resign back in October because I knew my passion was to run for public office at least once in my life. And I was supporting the Air Force when I got called by Booz Allen over here back in 2019 from Austin. They said, can you bring your tech skills as a software engineer and support the Air Force here if you would like it? So I decided to do it. And then after that, I met Geekdom, and I was very excited. I wanted to make a startup that helped like farmer market people get into the business, help small families start their businesses. So I call Local Community Vendors LLC. And I have a lovely border collie. Being in San Antonio for the last 6 years, I've realized that I would like to stay here, start a family, way safer than any city I've been to. I traveled the world from Thailand to Singapore, trust me, and went to college in California because they paid me to go there. You know, gotta go where the money is. But I've always been a business person. I ran independent because I knew I want to support the city of San Antonio. No matter what, to make your city grow so it can be richer and awesome. So that's why I'm very, driven as an
finish your
individual.
thought.
Yeah,
Thank you.
driven as an individual. Cindy O.
And I'm Cesario Garcia. I've lived in San Antonio since 1996. I basically started a small business in 2003. I'm an Air Force brat, lived all over the world, grew up. I'm adopted. I'm an only child. And I've loved this city, and I'm going to try to do my best when it comes to provide a service and be someone's, I guess, squawk box. So I worked in government a little bit, not worked with government. I've been a campaign manager for Dr. Robert Lowry, who ran for the 23rd Congressional. So I have actually traveled the whole state from San Antonio all the way to El Paso when it came to helping him out run for Congress. One of the biggest things I would say is that I learned from that was I learned how to meet people, talk to people, hear their issues, and to find out how it can be solved on a congressional level. Now, on a state level, on a city level, basically, it's a microcosm of that. So my biggest thing right now is to make sure we have core services and make sure that our people and our citizens are taken care of from top to bottom. Once again, my name is Cesario Garcia, candidate for City Council District 8. Thank you.
All right, since Cesario stood up now, I'm going to have to stand up too. Hello, everyone. My name is Sakib Shaikh, and I could tell you about my policies. We're going to all have a chance to get into that, but I want to take this time to tell you about myself and my background. I'm the son of immigrants from Pakistan. My parents moved to Houston over 40 years ago. I went to Clark High School, for those that live in District 8, classic District 8 high school, Clark High School. And then I went to UTSA for my undergrad, and then St. Mary's, where I did my master's in international economics. In 2017, I was your Director of Constituent Services for the District 8 Council Office. And since then, I've been a small business owner. Since August, I've knocked on over 6,000 doors. I'm approaching 7,000 very soon. And I must say, congratulations to all the candidates here. It's been a positive experience with everyone. Everyone has kept an upbeat, positive campaign. Unfortunate to say, there's one candidate that has kept it negative. My friend Ivalis Gonzalez has chosen to run a negative campaign and tell lies about me to voters. And I'm here to clear that up. She said things like, I don't pay my taxes.
All right, finish your thought.
I don't pay my taxes, that I don't live in District 8, and just stuff like that. I'm here to clear the air because I'm going to bring leadership that you deserve. Honest, transparent. Thank you.
We call that a name check. So, Ivalis, if you have a response, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I don't have anything to say.
All right, let's keep going. Thank you all for your opening statements, and again, appreciate this opportunity for each of you to tell voters why you think you should be the one to take this role. Let's talk about the city budget. If elected to the council, you'll immediately be thrown into the 2026 fiscal year budget, and you'll have a say over where the city's $4 billion budget gets spent. In the most recent budget survey that we saw, residents ranked homelessness, streets, housing, and animal care services among their top concerns. We will see another budget survey before we have to make a budget, but we'll go on this side and have you start. Which issues do you consider a top concern for District 8, and how would you work to address them in your first 100 days? And then we'll come back down this way. Go ahead.
So I mentioned I've been block walking since August, and some of the themes are, they're essentially identical. Everybody really cares about the same things. The first thing that people bring up in District 8 is public safety. But we don't have a real conversation, an in-depth conversation about what that means to people. And so I look at the data. I look at what does our city look like in comparison to others? What do the stats tell us? And so our population, what I've learned, is about 300,000 more than Dallas. But we have 1,100 officers less than Dallas. Public safety is already over 60% of our budget, and if we were to hire the officers that we need for today's population, it would bust the budget. And so I get down to the root of the problem. What's the issue? The issue is that as a city, we've outgrown our tax base. And the reason for that is San Antonians just don't earn enough money. There aren't enough high-paying jobs here. And so the root of everything that's wrong with the city is because we've outgrown our tax base.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's core services that are most important, and I would say right now that we need to focus on, a lot of people are saying they're worried about who's going to be breaking their mailbox again. And now we have like porch pirates, we have people destroying mailboxes, going in and stealing mail. I had a person in my neighborhood that found some letters that were on Louis Pasteur that were from our district, but it was on a street off of Louis Pasteur. And I'm not sure what they were doing there, but he would just basically made the comment that we have to worry about theft, and we have to worry about our constituent services when it comes to actually helping our people that are out there that are, are basically our people that are working for us and not against us. And I mean like SAPD, the fire department. I mean working for us, and we have to give them the ability to actually help us out because we are short police officers and we're short firemen. So my biggest concern right now basically is we're not giving enough attention to our tax base because we, like Sakib said, we've outgrown it, but we also out-taxed our constituents out of their houses, and they're moving outside of San Antonio. People are moving
Thank you.
to Bernie and so on. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I would say is bringing new business investments. A lot of people say that crossing things is like for them to come over here and invest in our city, we're gonna make sure that it's friendly enough for them to actually move in. Also put in contracts to make them required to not outsource their workforce so they can hire only San Antonians, so they can bring the money back to us in case they're taking our land anyway. So what I would say is it does involve public safety, more funding. It also does involve to maintain the homelessness crisis and better structure, but go to the medical health center because a lot of homeless people do go to the ER rooms for help, so they do know what their needs is. A medical reason, is it affordable health, is it affordable care, do they need child daycare services? I met couples that actually had to get divorced on paper just to afford the child daycare services in order for them to go back to work. I think that's sad because I don't believe in divorce unless you got to, but as a Christian, I don't really believe it as long as, you got it all working together. But it broke my heart just to hear they had to get divorced just to be able to afford child daycare. So I felt like we got to fit on those things. Those little things build up to the fact that we need to be more attractive for other people to invest in our city in order for our city to grow. I always put business first.
Please finish your thought.
Yes, I always put business first because you got to eat. It pays the bills that way.
Go ahead.
So when we talk budget, we need to talk solutions. So we need to see homelessness, what is solution to that? Housing, what is the solution to that? Business, what is the solution to that? Can they tie in together? So we need to look at the finish line and build our model back. We need to expect something different. We've seen the same. I'm from Austin. Don't Austin my San Antonio. There's beautiful people here. There's good businesses. We need to grow our businesses out. Why so much are we worried about bringing businesses in? Why don't we take what we have now, work to promote them? When's this last time anybody's promoted San Antonio globally? And I think instead of just the Riverwalk and the Alamo, we need to talk about who we are, what our businesses are, and all of those solutions should bring and help solve our problems to homelessness, mental health, business. So I've seen the same way of doing business here. That's why I ran. I actually entered on the last day. I did. It wasn't something I tell my clients, never enter late. I did it. So I think we need to focus on solving these problems with something and being proactive, not reactive.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm asking about the city budget. You'll be thrown directly into a budget cycle. Residents have said that homelessness, animal care services, we'll see another resident survey before we do another budget, but what do you think are the most important issues to the residents of District 8?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm the only candidate that's been through various budget cycles working in the mayor's office. I sat through 3 budget cycles, and if elected, that will be my 4th. So I understand our budget process. I know that it takes working with city staff and colleagues. Building those relationships are important for any budget to get done. And so I have those relationships with city staff that I've worked on for the last 7 years. Relationship with council members that were started in office when I was there and are still in office. So making sure that we prioritize the issues of homelessness, housing, mental health are important not just to the city, to District 8, but to the city as a whole. So making sure that my colleagues know the priorities that I have in my district, and also I know the priorities they have in their district, and we can work together to accomplish that.
Go ahead.
Yes, I think that is a great question because as we all know, a budget and where you spend your money is a reflection of your values and your priorities. And I believe that this budget process for me as the next councilwoman in District 8 will be an opportunity to really examine closely where money is being spent within the city. And so I plan to create an advisory group of professionals and citizens to work on reviewing and examining the budget from top to bottom to begin to identify places within it and understanding in order to be able to communicate with the residents in District 8 exactly where money is being spent. I believe that public safety is a priority, and so I would want to be closely examining that amounts that are being spent for that and making sure that those expenses are actually accomplishing and prioritizing deterrence. And so I would focus within the budget itself. Public safety would be an important part for me.
Thank you. Let's stay on the budget topic and we'll go back this direction. But this is a more very San Antonio specific question that I think you all should be familiar with. But San Antonio's 2017 budget was the first to use an equity lens, or to consider the relative need of each council district to determine how much money they should get in an effort to address traditionally underserved populations. Some of you referenced in your Q&As the need for District 8 to get its fair share of city resources. San Antonio has some of the nation's most impoverished zip codes, and District 8 includes some of the more affluent parts of the city. Do you support continuing an equity approach to city budgeting? Please explain why or why not.
Yes, we've had this question before, and when I first looked at the budget that I saw back in the fall when we were having town halls, I thought it was surprising that there was no way to identify within the budget itself how much was coming to District 8, giving the amount of money that District 8 residents pay into the city budget. So philosophically, I do not agree with an equity budget. I know that that is where our city has gone. So I do want there to be a balancing, though, so that the District 8 residents will know where the money is going and that they are getting their fair share back into District 8 for the things that are needed there. I do realize that it is a balancing between places where there are more resources and providing as a city into areas that need more. But on the whole, I would say I'm not a fan of it.
So to be clear, you want each of the districts to get the same amount of money, or transparency about?
I want transparency about the amount of money that is leaving the district as opposed to what's coming back. I think there should at least be transparency so the residents know that it is going to provide additional resources in places that need that. Can't trace it now.
We'll ask the same question about, do you support using an equity lens when you approach the budget? Will you continue that as a city council member, and why or why not?
Yes, I do support the equity lens. Again, being at City Hall for 4 years and seeing how that equity lens allowed us to build the budget that we have now. Also in mind, I think it comes with talking to your colleagues, right? That equity budget is there, but our relationships with our colleagues and how we learn about what's happening in their district and them learning about what's happening in mine is what makes that equity budget work. So for me, personally, we've got Babcock Road that is busting at the seams right there by Houseman and 1604. We've got some stormwater drainage issues at Oakland Estates. We've got some flooding at Tanglewood. We have, what else do we have? The flooding at Tanglewood. There's a lot happening in District 8. And so making sure that making sure that my colleagues know what's happening in my district is important to me. So yes, with the equity budget in mind, and also continuing that conversation with my colleagues.
Go ahead. Do you support an equity budget lens?
Yes,
Yeah, some of you have referenced the need for District 8 to get its fair share of city resources, but San Antonio has some of the nation's most impoverished zip codes, and District 8 includes some of the more affluent parts of the city. Do you support continuing an equity approach to budgeting? Why or why not?
I think we need our fair share, and here's why. We have a lot of industry here. We have USAA, we have the medical district, we have UTSA, we have SeaWorld. So we have requirements on our roads and our members, and we do have low-income housing in District 8. They need fences. A lot of the crime that occurs is because people come in there from the outside. So we need to be able to protect our area, support our infrastructure. I do think all parts of San Antonio need support, But I don't see why District 8, if we're continuing to grow and lead, we need to financially support that. And so I fully believe we need our fair share. I do want all parts of San Antonio to be lifted up, but District 8 is what I would be hired for, and that's what I would focus on to make sure our citizens have good roads, good parks, safety from homelessness, and lifting everybody up. Thank you.
I'll say yes, I do believe in equity budgeting because it does support people in dire situations. My mom was like pretty much an immigrant back in Houston, couldn't afford anything when my father left her, so she had to raise me and my sister by herself. When I saw in San Antonio, I first moved out here, I was pretty impressed that you guys had this rule that would say pretty much called like it's like income restriction. So you couldn't move to a certain apartment if you made too much money, which was good because it saved housing for people who really needed it for their income base. And then I would just go to areas that I could like that I fit my budget for, which was really good. So to me, I would say that you have to go based on the data. I'm a software engineer. I worked with a lot of data scientists in the military, and they always told me go based on the demand to better fund it equally. Like, you know, for example, I'll say a lot of people in District 8 always talk about we need better planning when it comes to emergency utilities and Wi-Fi in case of any natural disaster. We're very fortunate in District 8, but I remember living in Lackland when I first moved to San Antonio. They needed more help with homelessness and crime. So it depends on what our need is.
Thank you.
I would say, you know, we need to have transparency across the board when it comes to this topic, but we also need to understand that this city is still food insecure. Many parts of the district are food insecure. That's a problem. I think that is a big deal. We need to address that. We have streets that have no pavement. One of my friends who ran for a county, one of the county chairs, one of her streets in her area has no pavement. It's caliche. We need to focus on the infrastructure of our city and look at how money's being spent before we can start saying this, start divvying it out of who needs it, who doesn't need it. It needs to be looked at through a better lens, I'd say, for that first and foremost. But, you know, and I would also put another senior center in District 8 as well. So transparency for me, but I'm not for the equity, no, because we are the breadbasket of the city, one of the breadbaskets. I think we need to look at it with a microscope first before we can go further. I'm against it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it's important to remember, I'm running for city council for District 8, right? So it's my job to be a zealous advocate for all things related to my community. That being said, it doesn't take any of us from any point in the district to get out of the district within a minute. And so just because we live in one part, we could visit our family in another part. We could work in another part. Our favorite restaurant could be in another part. So it's important that we have a needs-based budget. So I support an equity-based budget, and it takes getting along with council members. It takes relationships to be able to advocate for yourself while also being cognizant of the needs of the rest of the community. That's why I'm proud to announce I've been endorsed by Councilwoman Melissa Haverda from District 6 and Councilman Jalen McKee Rodriguez from District 2. And I'm ready to serve on day one and work with them to make sure that we get the best deal in District 8.
Thank you. Thank you each for your responses to that question. Now, we've written some questions for each of you. We went through our previous coverage plus your Q&As on our website and pulled out some answers that we wanted to hear a little more about. For the purposes of the clock, let's do a minute 30 for each of these. And I'm going to start first with Mr. Shaikh. You expressed a desire to clear the air about some things, including your taxes and your properties. So let's have you start and spend some time on that question.
Okay, so when you run a campaign, it should be about you and it should be about the voter, what you're going to do for the voter. So I've made it a point not to engage in negative campaigning. Some of the things that were brought up by my opponent, and I learned about these things when I talked to people at the door, that I don't pay my taxes. Now, what's true is that last year I was behind on my property taxes. Like any normal person that, you go through stuff in life, I was behind. But that's all been cleared since then. The other thing is that I don't live in District 8. I do live in District 8. On my literature, I say I've lived in and around District 8 for the past 25 years. There's a portion of that time when I lived outside of city limits. But as soon as I get outside my neighborhood, I'm in District 8 again. And at that time, my kids were going to pre-K for SA in the medical center. My mosque is in District 8. All my grocery stores are in District 8. So everything that I've done in San Antonio since I was in high school has to do with District 8. And then the last thing was that, what was the last thing? Oh, that I want to defund the police. I mean, I show me proof where I ever said anything like that. So I'm here advocating for a drastic increase in police presence, but is being told at the door that I said I wanted to defund the police. So those are just the things that I wish to clarify.
I feel like you've clarified.
And you,
I'll give you another 30 seconds before we go to Ms. Gonzalez if you want to add anything.
I mean, when you campaign, it needs to be about you and your ideas, what you bring to the table. I'm the only candidate that has public experience working in the government, experience owning a business, and experience in the private sector. So yeah, it's about you and the voter.
Ms. Gonzalez, I'd like to give you 30 seconds to respond to the suggestion that you've been campaigning negatively.
Yeah, no, that's just not the case. So if you feel the need to explain your taxes to folks, then it's about being honest about that. You filed for this seat while you had an active lawsuit. The city of San Antonio had an active lawsuit against you for delinquent taxes. You just recently paid that off. You also had a short-term rental that was revoked because you didn't pay the hot taxes back to the city. These are all important issues that I think residents need to know and they care about. This is our property taxes that pay everything in our that we use as our general fund. I am not at the door knocking on doors talking about another candidate. I'm representing myself. I'm introducing myself to candidates. And
Just finish your thought.
yeah, I just think it's about not misleading people. I never said that you didn't live in the district at all. But you felt the need to clarify where you lived. That's for you to do and for you to feel like you have to do.
We're going to go one more time back to
Yeah,
Mr.
so about the hot tax. So I used to own an Airbnb. And the way you file your taxes for many people who are hosts, it's a very convoluted process. And so if you rent to someone for 31 days or more, you don't have to pay a hot tax. The only problem is you still have to file. So that's where I made the mistake. I thought that I had just turned it into a regular rental because it was the same tenant for 7 months, and then that's it. I mean, the permit got revoked. I tried to get it back, and it didn't work. So that's it. Human mistakes when you're trying to run a business.
Thank you so far for giving that information to the voters, and the voters decide that's how this works. Mr. Garcia, let's have your question now. This is your third time running in District 8. You took 6.6% of the vote in 2021 and nearly 30% in 2023. How has your pitch to District 8 voters changed since the last time you ran? What is different about your campaign this year?
So you learn by trial by fire, right? When you get into politics as a candidate. And that's just one of the things that happens when you're a candidate. You just learn what to do, what not to do. And over the course of the last 4 years, I basically did, just me and 2 other people the first time. Second time I ran, I had more people, more signs, and more exposure, talking to lots of different people around the city. I learned a lot as a campaign manager for working for Dr. Lowry, because I was able to press the flesh with more people and let them know that you have skin in the game, and this is your chance to actually vote for someone who actually is not native to the system, which I am not native to the system at all when it comes to running for office. But this third time, I believe that I now have more of a foothold of the issues. I talk about, there's a 9-cent tax coming up for vote at the end of this election. No one else has talked about it. It's going to be put on your cell phone bill. I talk about policy now that people don't talk about, and none of my opponents talk about it and even make mention about this 9 cents. That's 9 cents on your cell phone bill. Who wants 9 more cents on your cell phone bill? Raise your hand. Who wants the city to okay 9 cents on your cell phone bill? Another thing is that how many people here get their tires rotated and oil changed? Raise your hands. It's time to rotate the tires, change oil, this city's council, and I'm one of the people right now that wants to get that done, because we are living in generational debt, and we have people here that they're going to be business as usual and same old, and I'm not for that. I'm a differencer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Onyekwelu, you describe yourself as a regular public transit user, and in your questionnaire, you said you want to prioritize housing near employment hubs and within via transit zones. Traffic has long been an issue in District 8, as some have referenced, and was a priority of outgoing Councilman Pelaez, but the city's push for more transit-oriented development hasn't always been embraced by neighborhood groups, or for that matter, by activists who worry that more transit-oriented development will actually lead to gentrification and displacement. How do you make the case for transit-minded development to those in D8 who may not want it?
Good question. So I would say this. For example, all the nice restaurants in District 8, you see those workers there? They got to get there to work too. Not all of them have cars because they get underpaid. Some of them only paid on a tip salary. I have a lot of friends who work in the restaurant industry. Bartenders barely make any money. So they have to come there and serve us, don't they? So they do need a way to get there. A lot of them do rely on the Viva Link. I want the Viva Link to be more accessible and much more easier to use. And when it comes to the Viva bus system, that's used by even kids in that area, because sometimes some parents are working a lot. Kids still have to get to school and back. So sometimes the buses don't even take them if it's a charter school or private school. So some of the kids will be sitting next to me going back and forth on my job, like when I used to go back and forth to work. So I know the fear of a lot of people do say that their fear is it'll cause more, homelessness or some type of, lower income, but it wouldn't. It would just get all the lower income workers that get to our lavish places to better serve our needs. Because a lot of them can't even afford in our property tax zone. A lot of them can't afford that, but they still need to get to work every day. We got to be considerate about that. Plus, almost 900,000 per quarter people take the bus. Imagine all of them driving on the streets already. We'll be beyond traffic. We'll be Houston traffic. Do you want that? No. I'm trying to make it a lot more, make the bus lane more cooler for the college kids so you guys can have more, more lanes to go get back to work without being in traffic. So yes, they're not going to get the poor people. We're just trying to get the working class people to your restaurants where you go to in your district. They need to be able to work too.
Thank you. I would have to double check the VIA ridership number. San Antonio is a big place and ridership is fairly low, but there is potentially a future for more public transit in San Antonio. So Mr. Kidd, you said in your Q&A something I didn't see from anyone else. You said, I want to make District 8 the music capital of San Antonio by building a state-of-the-art amphitheater for live performances and broadcasts. A project like that would require developer buy-in as well as potentially a public-private partnership on funding. At the same time, the city is considering Project Marvel and moving the Missions Baseball Stadium downtown. How do you plan to build support for a new amphitheater? And then after that, convince your council colleagues that it should be in District 8?
Okay. So everything is focused on downtown. District 8 is a thriving community. We have the university, we have the medical center, USAA, Valero. So we have a lot of seniors as well. And I will let you know this. This is how I got to thinking about it. I asked my mom, I said, Mom, I'm going to run for city council. She said, great. I said, what do you need? And she was quiet for a little bit. She goes, more music. I said, okay, we can do that. District 8 needs something to hang its hat on. We need something to support the new Spurs Center where they practice, La Cantera, UTSA. We need that so we can recruit people, bring businesses here to San Antonio, to one of our most thriving districts. We rely on this district for money, and we need to support our citizens and make sure that they are having a great place to live. Everybody looks at downtown, the Riverwalk, San Antonio, the Alamo. Well, what about District 8? Why couldn't we have something that's just really exciting, lifts up the community, helps UTSA recruit, helps USAA recruit, helps Medical Center recruit, gives our seniors and our people something to look forward to, and brings another major source and industry to San Antonio that can help us shine. Thank you. Rodney Kidd.
Thank you. Ms. Meza Gonzalez, it's your turn, and we've had a little bit of back and forth here. There was an ethics violation filed, but not taken up by the Ethics Review Board within the past week, I believe by Mr. Shaikh, related to accusations of violating a ban on former city employees lobbying on behalf of clients doing business with the city soon after they leave City Hall. Would you like to address that complaint?
Yeah, I mean, the complaint was a complete fabrication, made up from top to bottom, regarding a meeting that never occurred. And you could know it didn't occur if you went to the website. The city has all their meetings on their website. And there was no meeting, a committee meeting that took place. I have never, ever spoken before a council, a committee, a full council in my life when I was working at City Hall or outside of City Hall. I've never been a lobbyist. If we used his logic, if you worked at NASA, you'd have to call yourself an astronaut, no matter what you did. And it's just weaponizing an ethics complaint system, in my opinion, to score political points. And the taxpayers are the ones that were on the hook for that. Because that ethics complaint went to an independent counsel that our property taxes paid for. And it was completely fabricated. Nothing from top to bottom occurred in that complaint.
We'll give you a chance to respond to that one. Yeah.
So that's just not true. And look, the issue with the complaint isn't that did this meeting happen, that meeting happened. That's not what this is about. If you work for city council or for the city, after you leave for 2 years, you cannot engage in lobbying on behalf of private interests. And we can play semantics with the words, well, I wasn't a lobbyist, I was technically a consultant. It's all the same thing. The rule is the rule. The violation is the violation.
Okay. Anything else?
That's just not the case. The rule isn't the rule. You're reading it completely incorrectly. There is no lobbying. And I mean, if that's the case, your campaign consultant is called a campaign lobbyist. Where do you get that there was lobbying off of a meeting that did not take place at all? You have to, acknowledge that you, in the ethics complaint, that you signed a sworn affidavit saying that everything on there was true, was completely inaccurate.
Okay.
There was no meeting that took place
Finish the thought, please.
at all. And I wish you would acknowledge that.
Mr. Shaikh, do you have any response?
Meetings take place all the time. I mean, this isn't about this meeting or that meeting. It's because she engaged in lobbying activity. She works for a lobbying firm. She met with council members lobbying on behalf of private interests. She took the knowledge that she gained from City Hall and used it to profit her clients. That's the end of the story.
Respond to that.
Please,
I need to respond to that. There was no, that absolutely did not occur at all. There was no lobbying done by any client. There is a consulting firm that I work for that was a subcontractor on a economic development strategic framework. You also misstated the name of the framework, by the way, in your ethics complaint. That did not occur.
okay.
There was a subcontracting
Please finish
with
your thought.
that, with the consultant.
All right, we're gonna move on, and also Andrea Dresch, our government and politics reporter, is gonna spend some time looking into this. Probably. We thank you both for talking us through that. Again, the voters on May 3rd decide, and June 7th is the runoff. Paula McGee, let's have you answer our last individual question. You drew on your legal background when you said in your questionnaire that you want to resume arrest and prosecution for criminal trespass, vandalism, and low-level property theft so neighborhoods are again safe. How to fairly police the population has been a major point of debate on the council, in part due to societal inequities and a rise in mental health issues, and also in part due to a lack of jail space and other fiscal constraints. This is a huge challenge to tackle, so where would you start?
Well, first I'm going to start with what we just watched and say that I think that people are tired of candidates and politicians taking personal swipes at each other. I think we need to rise above that kind of attack. I'm not going to the facts there at all. I'm just saying I think that being a city council person, being a candidate, we should have better decorum. And we've watched this kind of stuff go on at city council before, and I think it's disappointing and disrespecting of the voters to spend time with squabbles like this. Okay. And with respect to your question, of course, homelessness is a very complicated problem in our community that requires a lot more attention and focus on addressing it than what we've watched in the recent and current administration, actually. And so I think that solutions to it do include law enforcement to a certain extent, for limited small offenses, to create opportunities for interaction between our law enforcement and the homeless community to actually create a situation where they can get them to the help that they need. But yes, it's very complicated. Mental health is a component, and that is something that we certainly need to address in a better way in this community, and not just talk about helping and dealing with mental health, but actually doing something.
Thank you. Time is tight. We still have time, but time is tight. So we're going to do a 30-second round where I would like to hear from each of you to weigh in. Can you give a letter grade on how Manny Pelaez has represented District 8 so far? 30 seconds.
C.
Let's keep the applause quiet. Go ahead.
I would give it an A. He's been responsive to residents. I hear that at the doors all the time. For the most part, I really do. I've knocked on thousands of doors since October, and I do hear that regularly. He has town halls, he has coffee with the councilman. So for the most part, I've heard that he has been responsive to residents, and I want to continue that responsiveness and make sure that this office is accessible to residents. And it's open. This office belongs to the residents of District 8. So the door is open. Whether
Finish your thought.
you vote for me or not, the door is open to you, and I'm here to serve you.
Please finish your thought. Mr. Kidd.
So no, I'm going to give Manny an F, and here's why. And I originally, yes. So I've talked to a lot of folks. They've given me reasons. I've actually called the office. Gentleman wrongfully being evicted. I called, said, hey, this is going on. How do we hook him up with the city? How do we clear up this mess? How do we get him some assistance? And how does he get with the landlord to straighten it out? No response. Call downtown. So every single time I've called to get a service for a constituent, it has not been answered.
Thank you.
So for me, what I want to do is make sure we hear your problem,
30 seconds.
we solve your problem, and we make sure that it doesn't happen again to anyone else in this room. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Again, these are 30-second answers. Go ahead.
I'll say B+. Reason why is because the salary was $49K. You have to understand, that's very low. 2, the other reason is actually I would approach the homelessness a lot more differently and not spend $6K on putting banners everywhere, telling people not to feed the homeless. Like, that's an individual choice. Plus, that's a safety hazard because you can't be staring up when you're driving. So what I would just say is I would funnel it into contractors that work directly with the homeless. That's what I would have done with the money. That's the only different approach I would have done. There's other approaches I would have done, but that would be one thing I would just say that was a little...
Thank you.
Huh?
Guys.
No, I don't need a good money. I'm just saying he did his best. He did his best. 49K.
We're going to move forward.
He did his best.
30 seconds for this answer. We're going to move forward. Mr. Garcia, hey.
Okay, so I would give him a D, unfortunately. And I tell you why I give him a D. Because his office was called to help get some people out from behind over in Hunter's Chase 2. There were some people, some vagabonds that were, they had a little bivouac, about 4 or 5 of them. We called them like 6 months. For 6 months, 0. It took me 35 days with my HOA vice president, 25 to 30 days to get those people moved out into a better place. And we did it. I helped them get out of that neighborhood, and they're in a better place now. But I'm the one that did that, and I've got pictures to prove it, so I'm not making this up,
Thank
but
you.
yes. So D.
Thank you.
D minus.
Okay,
Okay,
30
so
seconds.
I've noticed the crowd only claps when it's like a very low grade. But I have to be honest. Okay, I'm gonna say A, but I'm gonna caveat that with a A minus. Okay, A minus. So nobody's perfect.
Please, respectful.
Yeah, I think some of the things that Councilman Pelaez has done, we're going to see the benefit of that down the line. So whether the office was responsive, like there are going to be cases where they were very responsive, there are going to be cases where they were not responsive. But if you look at what he did for the Silk Road district on I-10 and Wurzbach, that is going to pay the community dividends in the long run. I don't think people give him enough credit for that.
Thank you.
So that's what I would say.
All right, I was trying to save time and I struck a nerve unintentionally, but thank you all for contending with that question. And thank you all in the audience for having such passionate civic engagement. But we do try to have productive events at the San Antonio Report, and we try to have hopeful conversations about the future of our city. So we are gonna spend 1 minute and 30 seconds each giving closing statements to end this debate. Thank you all for your time today. And who would like to go first? How about we just kind of popcorn this?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
1 minute, 30 seconds. Okay, so like I said, I'm not baked into the system, not native to the system that's here in San Antonio. A couple of my opponents have actually connections with the city of San Antonio that we don't know about, that we do know about, which is fine. My biggest thing right now is this, two things, is that no one talks about this upcoming vote that's going to happen. There's the carriage thing that's going to happen, the Project Marvel. I'm against Project Marvel, and I think it's the worst thing out there. I'm against it 110%. I think we need to have transparency from A to Z. We need a Doge in San Antonio. We need to have people know where the money's being spent. We need projects that are started and stopped, start dates and stop dates, and when they first come to fruition. From Babcock Road has been going on for 5 years. We have to have transparency of what the heck's going. Why the money's being spent? Where the money's being spent, and why do we have such a long-winded, like myself, long-winded project that's been going on for 5 years. My biggest thing is that being an Air Force brat, living all over the world, I've learned a lot, I've been cultured, and I love this city, but I don't want to have your children's children, your grandchildren's children saddled with generational debt because we're $18.5 billion in debt. Figure that out. $18.5 billion. How's that going to work? It's going to outlive all of us, probably. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully some of us will be able to up here to get rid of or put a dent in it, but we need to focus on our debt. We need to focus on our roads. We need to focus on our core services. We need more police officers, more firemen.
Thank you.
We need people out there to help save lives. The biggest thing for me
Please
is that
finish your thought. I'm
my
going to hold
parents-
you to these ones because I
Okay.
gave you extra time.
Well, my parents are in their 80s, and I tell you what, we need to have better judgment and better stewardship of our tax dollars. Thank you.
Thank you. We go next.
I think it's better if you call on someone.
Okay, all right. We'll go, Mr. Kidd.
Thank you. So I think when we look at District 8, we need to focus on, can we handle a call if there's a homeless person on the corner? Are they at our business? And are they a restaurant? All right. What can we do to get them the mental health and the help they need? I think we need to focus on, what about do we have more dog parks? Do we have more quality? Can we get to a park within 10 minutes walking? Walkable communities. I think the main focus should be improving the services at the office. I think the office should answer calls 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I think when there's a shooting, I want either myself or someone to be at that location in the district. Why did it happen? How can we stop it? Were the police responsive? And keep it from happening again. I want to get solutions that matter, that impact. What changes your life? I want to hear it from you, and then I want to work with you to get there. You need something from the city? I want to make sure that city, you're there, and that they respond. And if it works great, how do we scale that? Or if you don't get what you need, or you can't get through, how do we fix it? My office will be responsive. We will solve problems, and we're looking at it different. We're going to not fight about taxes. We're not going to fight about $100 million riverboat contracts. We're going to focus on you. So I want to amplify your voice and your needs, and that's why I'm running. I'm running to represent you And my name is Rodney Kidd, running for City Council, District 8. Thank you.
Go ahead. Ms. Meza Gonzalez.
I'm proud of the endorsements I've received along the way on this campaign trail, from the San Antonio Express News last week, to our San Antonio Police Association, to our mayor, our former county judge Nelson Wolf, our county judge Peter Sakai. These endorsements mean a lot to me because I know these people and I respect the work that they've done, but they also know the work that I've done. They've seen the work. I'm the only candidate here with day-to-day experience at City Hall. I want to hit the ground running for the residents of District 8. I understand local government. I understand our budgeting. I understand the needs of this community. And that's important because District 8 is too important to have somebody that needs on-the-job training. I'm ready to get to work for the residents of District 8. So if any of you are in this room that live in District 8, or if anybody's watching that is in District 8, I sincerely ask for your vote. Election day, May 3rd. Early vote starts on the 22nd. Thank you so much.
Ms. McGee.
I'm running because we need better in San Antonio. We need better than what we've had. I am not a politician. I am not in pursuit of a political career for myself, and I'm not a city insider. I bring a lifetime of experience as a lawyer for 40 years to this job, and a volunteer in this community. Serving on the Zoning Commission, the Ethics Review Board, I understand how this city works. If you think that you have gotten a good representation for yourselves and your values at City Hall through this administration, then that's fine. But that's not what I bring to this. I bring a fresh perspective as a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a community volunteer, and a long-standing resident in this community. We need better down there. And I would appreciate your vote. I think you should vote for somebody different to go down to City Hall and bring common sense and wisdom back to the decision-making at City Hall. Paula McGee, I'd love to earn your vote, and I'd be honored to represent District 8 in these next 4 years. Thank you.
Mr. Shaikh.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Sakib Shaikh. As I've knocked on doors since August, approaching 7,000, one thing remains the same. Everybody talks about public safety, but the second thing that they've always talked to me about is they don't like the way City Hall is run because it seems like it's run by insiders. And there's no real movement for change, there's no real responsiveness to the city, and there's no real respect for the voters. Well, I plan on being the candidate of change. I'm the only candidate of the few that have raised significant funds that haven't taken any money from lobbyists, any money from developers, construction companies, corporate PACs, or even federal lobbyists. My money is 100% grassroots because I will represent you. That's why I'm running. Before I became into politics, I was a neighborhood president. I'm the president of the Laurel Hills Neighborhood Association. Before I worked in the District 8 office, I was in college years before that where I was a student organizer. So my passion has always been in serving the community and not the special interest. Thank you, everyone. My name is Sakib Shaikh.
Yeah, I know, I'm brand new. But I'll tell you this, I don't have any kids, no husband, so I have all the time to cater to you. I go to all the forums. I went to the Democrat forum, the Republican forums, even the Libertarians, even the voters who don't care about voting. You know why? My generation is going to be the next generation taking over this city. You need someone that's going to inspire them, honestly. Because right now, these girls are out here, they don't care, they're on OnlyFans, but they don't see girls like me. They don't see girls like me who actually cares about education, inspire to you. So I'm just going to tell you like it is. I'm going to cater to you, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to support you like I support everybody else. I got more time than anybody up here to actually go out, run around, and help you and grow with you. And also for your kids to look up to me so they can choose better in life. So the thing about that is, I respect my elders, and I'll respect and be there for you, and 88 compliances because I understand. 2, I'll tell you this about me. I ran because I was bored. When I got laid off last year, I was like, man, what am I going to do? I know I don't want to be on OnlyFans. I'm pretty, but I'm not that pretty. But I'll tell you this, I'm so charming, I can talk your ears off all day and give you the time of day. I got no kids calling me at home. I only got a dog. He's just going to bark at me. But my name is Cindy O, and if you like funny, I'm going to entertain you all day.
Thank you all for participating, for being here. One of these people will be your next council member in District 8. Thank you all for your time. We're going to take a real quick break and get started again with District 9 in about 5 minutes. Thank you.